Hello, Nadine. Thanks for coming today.
Thanks for having me.
So you're relatively new to Manitoba Women in Construction on the board, which we're very grateful for your time. And we'd like to give our members a little bit of a sense of who our board members are. So I've done sort of this series of interviews, and so it's sort of your turn. And we were wondering if you could give us a little bit of your history with regards to how you got involved in construction, and then of course how you ended up as the owner of Metal Depot.
Great. Yeah, that's a question I often get asked, is what's a nice girl like you doing in a place like this? And so I had spent a number of years in construction finance with in leasing, heavy equipment leasing with the Scotiabank, and then moved from there to Caterpillar Financial, and then from there to GE Capital. So that was over a span of about 15 years. So was really enamored with the whole construction industry, was very much involved with Manitoba Heavy Construction Association, and it was sort of had become my community. So at one point, one of my clients expressed that they were selling this sister company that they owned, which was a little metal fabrication shop. And I said, oh, that's too bad. That's a nice little business. And they said, well, you should buy it. So I had because I was in credit, I had the opportunity to sort of run the idea through my credit process in my mind of, would I lend somebody money for this venture? And turned out I would. So 5 weeks later, I left GE and bought the company. So my son at the time was 7 or 8. And so I have this cute picture of us sort of standing in front of this big rack of metal and like, okay, it's all ours. So he thought it was pretty cool that his mother now owned some forklifts, and that's how I spent my day. But I wasn't intimidated at all by the industry, even though I knew nothing about metal fabrication. Like I said, construction in general and that ilk was sort of my community. So I didn't think it was going to be that much of a stretch. So one of the things that I found most interesting is I thought we would just build stuff and we would, be engaged with contractors and home builders and things. But I had no idea how creative and wonderful that side of the business would become. And I really found my groove as far as the design element and the visualization. And I think that's one thing that I have heard a lot as we bring in like students. I had an architectural technology student years ago, and she said it just blew her mind to go from drawing to building to installing on a building, and just that she was able to see it all come to fruition. And so that whole thing is very exciting, and it's exciting for our customers too, especially homeowners, to sort of see on a drawing and then see a little piece that's a sample and then actually have it on their home. So that's very exciting. So yeah, that's almost 15 years later, and we're here. We are 99.9% all female. We have one token male, and even our shop dogs are all female, and so it's kind of unique, and that's where our tagline came from. We had one elderly contractor come in years ago, and he said, not only are you girls at Metal Depot beautiful, you're functional too. So, yeah, just like our product. So that's where our tagline, where beauty meets function, came from. Sort of a tongue-in-cheek on that.
Yeah, that's great. So actually a nice segue into my next question. So if you could change something about the industry, what would it be?
I thought about that. The obvious answer is would love to see more women see it as not a default, not as something weird, not as something alternative, but it's just a norm. But I feel that way not just for women, but also for anybody, that the trades in general, that manufacturing, that this should not still be a default. because university wasn't an option, or because you got tired of corporate, or because of this. It really should be a viable first choice because it's so wonderful. Like the whole industry is wonderful. It can give you all kinds of lifestyle freedom, great earning opportunities, great flexibility. Yeah, there's maybe some seasonality in it, but that's not such a bad thing. So I guess I would like to change how we still, and I just can't believe that we are still viewing it that way, but that we still, whether it's parents or schools or social, whatever, that it still seems like an oddity. It's like, oh, you're in trades? And it just shouldn't be happening anymore. We should be past that, let alone women, everybody.
Yeah, it's a societal change that pretty much needs to happen.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Is that one of the reasons why you wanted to get involved in Manitoba Women in Construction?
Yeah, just to raise the profile, to make it, we have a very beautiful space here. So when people walk into our space, this is not what you expect to see in a metal fabrication world. And I have some who I respect greatly, some competition and some competitors and peers in the industry. And it's very factory looking, and it's very, you walk in and kind of, this is what you expect. We get people walk in and go, wow, okay. Knowing that we're very heavy on the design end. And so it's just changing the nature of it, that it doesn't have to be grubby factory manufacturing. It's an integral part of the design stage. So yeah, just to sort of raise the profile, change the way people think about women in manufacturing and construction, and just make it more appealing. What warms my heart is when people come in, whether they're vendors or customers or friends, and just say, I want to work here. Like, this looks so much fun. I want to get in on that vendor and I want to make stuff. And, that's very exciting to see that the people who would never have envisioned themselves, and all of my staff none of them came from construction. So to see them in on the shear and the brake and doing the hand fabrication and loving it is wonderful to see that this isn't an area anybody would have thought of being in, and yet they love it.
Awesome. Thank you. We're going to switch gears a little bit, and I'm going to ask you sort of like rapid fire personal questions so that people can get to know you a little bit more. So, all right. So, are you cat or dog person?
Definitely dog.
Okay. Coffee.
So my dog comes with me to work every day. She was here a minute ago, but she's gone downstairs to see if someone can throw a ball for her.
Absolutely. Good. Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
And all day or just in the morning?
I always say I'm addicted to pouring coffee. I don't actually ever get to drink a whole cup. So by the time I pour it and then get back to it, it's usually cold. So probably mostly in the morning, unless there's Kahlua involved, then it sort of can filter into the evening.
Okay, excellent. Okay, so favorite drink in the winter?
Red wine. Red wine or Tullamore Dew, Irish whiskey.
Oh, okay. Favorite drink in the summer?
Gin and tonic, probably.
Okay, awesome. Are you a reader or are you more of a streamer?
I would love to say reader, but the reality is I stream most of my books. My one favorite right now is Stanley Tucci's Taste My Life. So good.
Okay, yeah. So you're listening to books then?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So, sorry, I wasn't thinking streaming and reading them on a tablet. No, I listen to most of my books.
Okay.
So I have quite a library on Audible that I share out with my leadership team and whoever wants access to it. But that's how I take in most of my books now.
Awesome. Good.
Yeah.
Favorite vacation?
Like that I've had or place?
That you've had.
I think I would have to say that, because as you know, I travel a lot. That would be my favorite would probably be, it's a tough one. My year away with my son was probably the most epic vacation, but I see that as more travel as opposed to a vacation. So my week away with, or my year away with Sam was probably the most epic. And so that was the full US, all Mexico, Guatemala, and then driving all the way back up in a van in a year.
I think that's more an adventure rather than a vacation.
So vacation would be, I'm a big scuba diver. So vacation would be, my mom and I spent a month together in Bonaire diving. So we dove 2 or 3 times a day for a month. So yeah, that was probably the best.
So because you've traveled a lot then, do you still have a bucket list for places to travel?
I do. Yeah, like some adventure travel, like India, Africa.
Okay.
Those kinds of adventures are still kind of up there. Certainly, I'm hoping to see Spain and Italy this winter, so I'm pretty excited about that. And then my go-to is always the interior of Mexico.
Okay, awesome. Yeah. So I'm going to wrap the interview up with one last question. Let's sort of an introspection. Through COVID, and we're still, unfortunately, feeling the effects of COVID. Did you learn anything about yourself with the lockdowns, with, you know, how you were operating your business? Did you learn something about yourself?
So that's twofold, because you asked 2 questions there. Did I learn anything about myself and about the business? From a business perspective, COVID was an incredible watershed blessing, because it forced me to step out of the business and look at the business. And because I was working from home for the better part of a year, I really had the opportunity to pull myself out of the doing and the weeds, and really look at structure and the financial end, which was soul-sucking and brain-numbing for me. But I had to do it, and so I feel so much more empowered now on that end of the business. So now I'm able to engage the professionals that I need to do it, because now I understand more about what I need. So it was a game changer for me in the business. Personally, there's a meme out that's Clint Eastwood sitting in a lawn chair with a beer, saying that he said, "You don't understand how antisocial you are until there's a global pandemic and your life doesn't change." So I realized that I'm much more of an introvert than I thought. Love people, love being out in front of hundreds of people, but I really, really like my time alone. Awesome. So that was an interesting sort of observation.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, thank you very much for your time, Nadine. It was great to get to know you a little bit more, and I look forward to your time on the board and getting to know you even that much more.
Great. Thanks so much, Elle.
You're welcome.
Okay, bye.
Bye.